I think she does need Harry, you know, I think she does. And she must know by now that she doesn't get everything right.
Yeah, so we're behaviour experts.
Meghan Markle's podcast has ended its 8-episode run, and there are no plans to release a second season at this point. What a surprise.
What if everything we thought we knew about the Sussex family was a lie? What if Archie and Lilibet, those wide-eyed, camera-ready faces of a modern royal future, weren't just born into scandal, but of it, because a woman known only as DL has stepped out of the shadows. And she's not just claiming to have been a surrogate, she's claiming to be their biological mother. That's not a typo, not a metaphor. According to DL, she didn't just carry the children, she created them, with her own eggs, her own body, her own biology. And she has the paperwork to prove it.
Well, he wouldn't leave the children, you see. And in America, the rules about, children, it's they're always with the mother, nearly always.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's not going to happen. So do you remember where 5 years, everyone, when they got married, a lot of members actually of the royal family even said, it won't last 5 years. But it has.
It has.
Yeah,
It's lasted 7.
Yeah.
Through a lot of crises, through a lot of,
huge pressure.
We've seen our fair share of royal shakeups over the years, but this isn't a tell-all memoir or a Netflix special. If this is real, it's a constitutional earthquake. DL's allegations, which reportedly include hospital records, wire transfers, and a signed NDA that's now allegedly been voided by legal loophole, could upend the royal line of succession. That's not hyperbole. If Archie and Lilibet aren't biologically related to Prince Harry or Meghan, or if their gestational path breaks royal protocols, the palace may be sitting on a crisis too radioactive to even acknowledge. And according to insiders close to the woman at the center of this powder keg, DL insists her role wasn't just surrogacy. She says she was recruited, prepped, and implanted under conditions that, if true, border on covert biocontracting. This isn't some internet fever dream. This woman has allegedly sent notarized documents to major legal outlets and offered to testify under oath. We're talking full paper trails, clinic names, hormone prescriptions, travel logs, even screenshots of text messages with a man she claims was a Sussex liaison. And yet, complete silence from the Montecito estate. No denial, no lawsuit, no statement. That silence is its own kind of thunder.
Now, Harry and Meghan have also been accused of hypocrisy after they restructured their staff, creating what has been labelled the Montecito Royal Court. What does that mean, Kinsey? What's happening?
But the real fracture comes when we look at the emotional stakes. DL's claims hit at the softest part of the Sussex brand, the image of Meghan and Harry as doting, hands-on parents. They've spent the last 4 years positioning themselves as the anti-palace human, nurturing, present. But what if it was all theater? What if those Instagram perfect moments with toddlers and pancakes were more curated than candid? If DL's documents check out, it raises a brutal question. Have we been watching 2 actors perform parenthood for a global audience? And it's not just the public who might have been in the dark. Rumors are swirling that Buckingham Palace ordered a private DNA test behind the scenes, covertly commissioned, quietly processed, and so far, kept under strict lock and key. One palace staffer, speaking anonymously to a British tabloid, said the hallways were buzzing with anxiety during that period, with non-stop meetings and secure document handoffs. Were they testing to confirm or deny DL's claim? And if that result landed in an envelope somewhere deep in a vault beneath the palace, what happens if it ever leaks?
Your Royal Highness, Meghan Markle, congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Can we start with the proposal and the actual moment of your engagement? When did it happen? How did it happen?
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cosy night. It was, what were we doing? Just roasting chicken
Trying to roast a chicken.
Trying to roast a chicken. And it was just...
We're told that senior royals were briefed and that legal teams were brought in early. If true, this suggests the House of Windsor isn't just aware of DL, they're preparing for fallout. Because if the allegations hold up, it's not just Meghan and Harry's legacy at stake, it's the monarchy's. Archie is 6th in line, Lilibet is 7th. If their legitimacy collapses under scrutiny, the succession line shifts, the titles disintegrate, and centuries of royal bloodlines could be called into question, all because of one woman's alleged truth and a few confidential test tubes in a private clinic in Southern California. Now here's where it gets surreal. Right when the whispers began gaining traction in fringe gossip forums and shadowy Reddit threads, Meghan dropped her now infamous baby mama dance video, set in what looks like their palatial Montecito kitchen. The video features Meghan and Harry bouncing along to a viral challenge, allegedly during her final week of pregnancy with Lilibet. Spicy food didn't work, so we danced. She joked in the caption, presenting herself as a fun, relatable, down-to-earth mom just trying to get labor started. Cute, authentic, harmless. Right? Or was it something else? Because when we line up the timeline, things get murky. The The baby mama video went live just days after DL began shopping her story to outlets. And suddenly, the Duchess was everywhere, on podcasts, Instagram, press releases. A burst of carefully packaged domesticity, saturated with rosy lighting and homemade jam. Some are saying it wasn't a coincidence at all. A veteran LA publicist claims the dance video was a PR decoy, launched to flood the feeds and reset the narrative. And Meghan herself told a podcast host she felt social media was a way to share joy and remind people that there's a real life happening behind the scenes. But what if it wasn't about joy? What if it was about distraction?
Meghan Markle posted a bizarre video on her social media yesterday, which sent several people into absolute meltdown. It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time.
Even the palace couldn't resist weighing in, sort of. When socialites Jamie Lang and Sophie Habu recreated the baby mama dance inside Buckingham Palace, the royal Instagram account commented, "We see you." That's not just cheeky, that's calculated. A royal wink at a viral joke, or a subtle shot across the Atlantic. So now we're stuck with a chilling juxtaposition. On one side, a woman claiming to have born and birthed the Sussex heirs, waving documentation and preparing to go public. On the other, Meghan posting curated snippets of motherhood, dance routines, podcast anecdotes, as if to say, look, I'm the mom. What more do you want? But if DL is telling the truth, that Instagram dance wasn't just ill-timed. It was a mask. A last-ditch move from a media-savvy Duchess, trying to keep the spotlight on her well-lit countertops and away from the truth growing in the shadows.
Like the gross disrespect to the intimacy and privacy of marriage and childbirth. You know, there are some moments that are supposed to be between a husband and a wife only. And the moments before you give birth to your child is one of them, when you are together in that room and your child is coming.
Because behind those polished social posts, behind the sun-drenched Montecito facade, something is unraveling. Whispers of secret settlements, chatter about frozen embryos, a spreadsheet leak from a California clinic that may or may not list Meghan Markle under an alias. One source even claims a former Archewell staffer quit after accidentally opening a file that referenced a Project Rose, the same codename that appears, wait for it, in a line item from DL's bank records labeled Rose Phase 2 Transfer. Coincidence or smoking gun? Meghan's defenders are scrambling, doubling down on her narrative of resilience and reinvention. Her lifestyle brand, as ever, just launched a new rose wine collection, and her team insists the baby mama video was a win with US audiences. But let's not forget, DL's allegations, if verified, could make everything else, the jam, the wine, the high heels, the 5-inch stilettos while pregnant, look like the elaborate window dressing of a mother in name only. As in monarchy, they're not laughing, they're not dancing, they're waiting. Because if those DNA test results ever surface, Meghan's viral twerk might go down in history not as a celebration of motherhood, but as the last moment before everything came crashing down.
You can't manufacture that stuff, right? It feels fake. It feels weird. I don't understand why they would think something like that would work. But these are not people who are just posting on a whim, right? Like, this is an entire industry.
It's
I know
calculated.
you've covered this in depth. This is a whole industry. They've got people working on this 24 hours a day to try to make this Meghan Markle thing into a thing.
But just when we thought the temperature couldn't rise any higher, fresh leaks have started to expose a trail of breadcrumbs that leads directly into Meghan's inner circle. According to sources with access to encrypted communications and leaked internal messages, there are now whispers that DL may not have been some unknown outsider after all, but someone who had multiple points of contact within the Duchess's staff from the very beginning. Alleged email chains and invoice-style payment records suggest that a member of Meghan's former team, listed only as Project Liaison, had back-and-forth correspondence with a third-party surrogate agency just months before Archie's birth. And the name DL? It pops up on a cross-reference vendor form connected to a Montecito-based wire transfer, totaling over $95,000. If these receipts are real, it doesn't just hint at secret dealings. It all but confirms deliberate coordination.
But it is just as intimate and none of our effing business. But she needs us to love her. So she will do whatever it takes, and she doesn't know how to make us love her.
So what does this mean? For one, the idea that DL was a background figure, a forgotten name behind the scenes, starts to crumble. She may have been entangled in this story far more deeply than anyone previously understood. Was she erased not to protect her identity, but to keep a potentially explosive link buried? DL is now alleging exactly that. In a new interview with an unnamed media outlet, she reportedly claims that not only was she promised strict confidentiality, she was assured lifelong discretion, fair compensation, and a role in ensuring the truth stayed controlled. But instead, she says she was pushed aside, ghosted by intermediaries, and eventually threatened with legal action when she began asking for what she says was promised. What's even more jarring is her claim that the compensation agreement, allegedly verbal but backed by at least 2 financial documents, was never fully honored. One of the payments, marked Service Phase 3, was supposedly pulled days before Lilibet's official announcement, and DL says that's when she realized she had been used, not included. It raises a brutal question. Was this all just a transaction from the start? A choreographed attempt to manufacture a modern fairy tale, using real bodies, real lives, and real deception?
It doesn't look normal to me. The belly doesn't look normal, doesn't look like where a pregnant woman's belly is, and I don't understand what all those bumps on the belly are. I don't get it.
And this is where things cross from messy into monarchy shattering. Because if DL is telling the truth, and if Archie and Lilibet were not only born via surrogate but also carry a different biological mother, we're no longer in gossip territory. We're staring down a full-blown constitutional rupture. The rules of royal succession are clear, archaic, and ruthlessly enforced. Titles pass through blood, not marriage, not symbolism, blood. That's the foundation of the crown. And if Meghan and Harry's children were conceived outside those boundaries, intentionally or otherwise, their place in the royal order could be rendered invalid, not adjusted, not controversial, illegitimate. This isn't just a family drama, it's a crisis that cuts to the bone of the British monarchy. Royal experts are already whispering that Buckingham Palace has drafted internal protocols for biological irregularities. A legal framework created decades ago, never publicly acknowledged, and now possibly activated for the first time in modern history. Meanwhile, the Sussexes remain frozen, no comments, no clarifications, just curated posts and choreographed smiles while the ground cracks beneath them.
So if she walked out on Harry, she would never reputationally survive it. But then Harry, without Meghan, what's his life in America?
Even more chilling, there are whispers, quiet, careful whispers, that Meghan was advised on a legal strategy years ago, a specific NDA configuration crafted to shield surrogate-related contracts from UK jurisdiction. One that keeps parentage details locked in private arbitration instead of public court. A surrogacy NDA loophole, some legal insiders are calling it. If true, it would reveal a level of foresight and control that's either genius or disturbing, depending on which side of the royal divide you stand. Was this a smart way to protect a growing family's privacy? Or was it the ultimate betrayal of royal tradition, a calculated attempt to rewrite the rules without the crown's consent? And then there's Harry. The man once dubbed the most honest royal, now caught in a storm of secrecy. Multiple insiders are describing him as isolated and emotionally volatile, with reports that he's been making late-night calls to former UK advisors and even an ex-royal staffer from Clarence House. According to one confidant, Harry is haunted by what's happening, torn between defending his wife and facing a truth he may no longer be able to deny. One close source allegedly overheard him say, "It wasn't supposed to go this far. Is this guilt, panic, or the slow unraveling of someone who knows a reckoning is coming?" In the background of this looming scandal, a subtle yet telling digital moment quietly exploded across royal watchers' feeds, and its implications are still sending ripples through the palace-watching public. When socialites Jamie Ling and Sophia Habu posted their own version of the viral baby mama dance inside the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, it might have passed as nothing more than a cheeky influencer moment. But the moment the official royal family Instagram account commented, "We see you," the interpretation changed instantly. On the surface, it was lighthearted, innocent, a wink. But for those following the Sussex saga, it felt calculated. A not-so-hidden message wrapped in emojis and plausible deniability. The timing was uncanny. Meghan's original baby mama video had been posted just days earlier, reigniting tabloid scrutiny and raising eyebrows over its authenticity amid growing whispers of DL's claims. To then see the same choreography echoed on the marble floors of Buckingham Palace and applauded by the monarchy's own verified account felt less like coincidence and more like commentary. While no official statements have been made, royal insiders and longtime observers are treating the comment as a quiet distancing maneuver, not a declaration of war, but a soft rebuke. A smirk in emoji form, and in a family where every gesture is scrutinized for symbolism, this was hardly subtle. We've seen this style of signaling before. The royal family rarely responds directly to controversy, but they're masters of controlled optics and indirect messaging. Clothing colors, photo placements, who stands next to whom on a balcony, these are their preferred tools of expression. Social media, though newer in the royal arsenal, has become a polished weapon of soft power. And when it's wielded against a former family member, it speaks volume. The tone of the comment, casual but loaded, may well have been the royal equivalent of a raised eyebrow across the dinner table. More revealing still was the contrast in treatment. Meghan and Harry faced sharp criticism for photographing themselves on palace grounds for their Netflix documentary. Yet Lang and Habu were not only allowed to film their dance inside, they were seemingly celebrated for it. The palace's official comment was joined by one from the King's Trust account as well, joking that all of our attendees are very well behaved. Whether intentional or not, the implication was clear. This was acceptable, that wasn't. And when you line up these moments side by side, a cold narrative emerges, one where the Sussexes are being subtly edged out of royal relevance, one post at a time.
Nothing.
She's nothing. And without her, Harry's life in America is nothing.
Well, yes, exactly.
He has a reputation to fall back
So they
on.
have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they need each other.
Yeah.
What makes this all the more unnerving is how isolating it must feel from within the Sussex camp. As the scandal surrounding DL swells, they're watching their old world chuckle and clap at their public unraveling, and doing so from behind a royal crest. It's one thing to feel media backlash. It's another to see your family, the institution you once served, lean into that backlash with a digital This is not open confrontation, but quiet estrangement. A signal to the public and perhaps to other royals that whatever happens next, the crown intends to stand at arm's length. In psychological terms, this kind of social shunning, cloaked in humor, wrapped in plausible deniability, can be more devastating than outright rejection. Meghan has built her brand around control and narrative, Harry around loyalty and defiance. But when your former allies start applauding your mockery, subtly, yes, but unmistakably, the message becomes hard to ignore. You are alone in this. And whether the Sussexes realize it yet or not, the institution they once defied may now be preparing to leave them behind completely. We've seen signs of strain. At the Time 100 summit, Harry appeared listless beside Meghan, barely speaking, eyes scanning the crowd like someone avoiding ghosts. Rumors are flying that he's asked legal counsel about the consequences of speaking out, not against Meghan, but in defense of the monarchy. Could he be preparing a confession, or is he headed towards something more public, more chaotic, a breakdown broadcast in real time? One thing we know, DL isn't done. She's now teasing a set of documents she calls her final proof, a packet of hospital logs, email threads, and one piece she claims is irrefutable. Whether it's a test result, a signature, or something even more damning, she says it will go public within weeks unless she receives what was promised. Her legal team is reportedly reviewing international privacy laws, but the countdown has begun. And all while the royal family says nothing. No rebuttal, no condemnation, just the faint hum of strategy rooms and behind-the-scenes chaos. Because this isn't just about a couple in California anymore. It's about the throne, the future, and a lie that may have been too carefully built to undo. Until now, as DL prepares to release her so-called receipts and the Sussexes' silence grows deafening, one thing is certain. The truth is coming and it will change everything. Are Meghan and Harry prepared for the storm about to hit? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this a palace conspiracy or the final crack in the fairy tale? Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, in the royal world, nothing is ever what it seems.